Hello and welcome back to YThrive Home. My name is Amy and I'll be your instructor today as we move through a yoga flow, focusing on those hip openers. So all you need is your mat, and we'll start today in a seated position. So sitting cross-legged, sitting up nice and tall, crown of the head reaching towards the ceiling, hands on your knees, and begin to bring your breath in and out through your nose. Two more full breaths. One more. And take both hands over your knee, turning to look behind your shoulder as you sit nice and tall. Come back to center. Hands come over the other side. Exhale, come back to center. Walking your fingertips just in front of your shins as they walk their way towards the front of the mat. Take a full breath. Exhale, see if you have any more depth. Deep breath. Exhale. And bring your hands back and just roll over your shins, coming into all four. Pressing down into your palms. Tucking your toes, and press your hips up and back into downward dog. Maybe pedaling out through your feet. And then finding stillness as both heels drop towards the mat. Elbows are soft as your hips move back away from your hands. Walk your feet forward toward your hands, hanging forward. Forward fold, hinging right from the hips, crown of the head hangs heavy, hands drop towards the floor, or maybe they grab opposite elbows. Shifting the weight slightly towards the front of your feet. Hang heavy for one more breath. Release your hands and roll up vertebrae by vertebrae into standing. Reach your hands over your head. Take two sun salutations. Deep breath in. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, step back to a high plank from toes or from knees. Elbows moving behind you, lower all the way down. Reach your feet out. Inhale, lift your chest. Exhale, press back from your knees or from your toes. Downward dog. Take a deep breath. Exhale, empty. Step forward. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, reach all the way up. Stand tall. Exhale, fold. Half lift. Step back, high plank, knees or toes. Lower all the way down. Inhale, reach your feet, lift. Exhale, tuck your toes from knees or toes. Press back to down dog. One full breath. Empty out. Step your feet forward. Half lift. Fold. Inhale, stand tall. Tadasana. Hands come to heart center. Plug into your left foot. Take your right foot back, crescent lunge. Taking a nice deep step here, plug into your front foot, knee over your ankle and come way up on that back toe. And then look at where you can go for depth. Maybe your hands can come all the way up, take a full breath. Exhale, lower your hands down towards the floor. Drop your back knee towards the mat, foot along the floor. Lift up, reach your chest forward and your hands back, interlacing or just reaching your hands back. Deep breath. Exhale. Bring your gaze forward. Both hands come around to the inside of your foot. Take them down to the floor and walk your foot just outside so that your knee rests on the outside of your arm. Draw your chest up. Now roll that foot onto the outside edge of your foot, toes towards the corner of your mat. Knees drop towards the outside, and you may find that you need to stay here. That might be lots. Or you may be able to come down to your elbow. Find the depth that is challenging, but doesn't create pain. One more breath. Come back onto your palms. Bring your foot down to the mat. Tuck your back toe. Step all the way back to high plank and then press back to a downward dog. Deep breath in. Exhale. Step forward. Half lift. Forward fold. Stand tall. Hands to heart center. Stepping the other foot back this time. So your right foot stays forward. Up on the back toes, find that crescent lunge. In every exhale, is there any more depth? Be lifting that knee up off the floor, reaching your hands over your head. Soften your shoulders. Bring your hands down to the outsides of your feet. Drop your back knee to the floor. Top of your foot down on the floor. Press into your front foot, lift your chest, bring your hands around behind you, just like we did on the other side. And if you need to inch your foot forward slightly to keep the ankle under the knee, go ahead, do that. Bring your gaze forward. Bring your hands to the inside of that foot, walking the foot a little wider. Hands come down. Take a few deep breaths, seeing if there might be any more depth there for you, relaxing through the legs. And then rotating up to the outside edge of your foot, toes towards the corner of the mat, knee drops down. And decide how deep you need to go with your arms. Where's the right place for you to take a few more breaths? Come up onto your palms. Bring your knee to the ceiling. Tuck your back toe and step back to high plank. Downward dog for a full breath. Exhale. Step forward. Half lift. Forward fold. Inhale, Tadasana. Hands to heart center. Plug in again. And step your foot back. So your left foot is forward, but this time you're going to drop the back foot, level with the back edge of your mat, extend your arms, warrior two. Soften your shoulders, reach your hands wide, ankle underneath your knee. Deep breath. Now straighten your front leg. Kick your hips back towards the back wall, reach forward, and let your front hand come down towards your shin. Lift your back hand up, triangle, or Trikonasana. You can rest your hand here on the shin, or maybe reach down towards the outside edge of the shin. You're trying to keep a nice long line through your legs. Your legs are both straight here. Knees aren't locked, but your legs are straight. One more breath. Hinge back up and take all 10 toes and turn them all forward to the long edge of the mat. Deep breath in. Hands come around behind your tailbone, interlace your hands, look up, lift up, and from your hips hinge forward, wide leg, forward fold. Let your head hang heavy. One more breath. Maybe you can peel your hands up off of the tailbone, keeping your elbows soft, nothing's locked. Lower your hand, lengthen your spine, tuck into your abdominals, and stand all the way back up. Taking a big step from the back foot to the front of your mat, face forward, hands to heart center. Inhale, reach your hands over your head. Exhale, fold. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, fold. Stay here in this fold. Let your head hang heavy. Inhale, lift all the way up. Exhale, hands to heart center. And take the other foot back this time. Right leg forward. Drop the back heel. Reach out your arms. Warrior two. Soften your shoulders. And then lengthen that front leg. Kick your hips back. Reach forward and hinge down, finding your shin. Or maybe reaching to the outside edge. Sending your gaze towards your thumb. Hips in line with your ankles, one long line. Take one more full breath here. Exhale, hinge all the way up. And then take a great big step from the back to the front of your mat. Take a steadying breath. Gaze towards your fingertips. Finding a balanced posture. Plugging in to your left foot. Right foot comes up either to the shin, or maybe you can grab your foot and place it somewhere on your thigh, so long as it's not right on your knee. And then your palms come together. You press your foot into your thigh and your palms together, trying to stand even taller. Oh, finding your balance. Falling out just gives you the opportunity to get right back in. Maybe even taking your hands and reaching them up. Then staying balanced, take your bent knee and extend it away from your body. Hinging slightly to the side, staying balanced, drawing to your core. And then hinge back up. Without tapping that foot down, cross it over top of your knee. Hands come back to heart center. Send your hips back like you're sitting in a chair. Yeah, flexing that foot, giving the knee lots of protection. Just finding the depth that allows you to move down into those hips. And then standing all the way up. Taking that foot, plugging it down onto your mat. The other foot comes up now. Again, you can take it to your shin or find the height that works for you. Pressing into your thigh, your foot into the thigh into the foot, and palm against palm, standing tall. Maybe reaching your hands if you want a little more challenge. And then taking that foot, peeling it off your body. Reach it out, extend it out, reach your hands and hinge to the side. Take up as much space as you can here. Holding steady. And then standing tall, crossing that foot over the knee, above the knee. Flex your foot, hands to your heart. Press your hips back like you're sitting in a chair. Relax your shoulders. Steady your gaze. And stand up, taking your weight to both feet. Take a deep breath in. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, step back for that high plank. Take a full breath here. And then press back to downward dog. Take your left foot, lift it up, bring your left knee to your left wrist, walk that leg behind you for half pigeon. Top of your foot down to the mat, hands come back, deep breath in. Exhale, come down to elbows. Or maybe full extension, palms down, forehead down. And then bring your hands back, lift your chest, tuck your back toe, and press back. Take a full breath here. Exhale. Right foot lifts up. Extend your knee and bring it then in towards your wrist. Walk that leg back behind you. Bring your hands back, deep breath. Exhale, come down to your elbows. Bringing that left hip towards your heel. Or maybe extending your hands out, bringing your forehead down. Take one more breath here. Walk your hands in, and this time as you come up, take your weight over to the bent knee side and bring your other leg around in front. Bringing your feet in front, and then bending your left leg so your ankle is straight out from your knee. And then pick up the other leg and just kind of cradle it like it's gently being held and find some mobility. You're going to take that top leg now and bring your foot just off your thigh, just over the kneecap, and just let that knee rest down towards your heel. You're looking for a little triangle between your legs. And that top leg, it might need a little bit of help. You might need to ease it. Maybe it feels good if you give it just a little support, or a blanket or pillow underneath that leg for support. It works just as well. Just let it naturally lower to wherever it does. Take your hands behind you, lift your chest. And if your breath is still moving easy, an option to bring your hands around to the front with a long spine and just play with depth for full pigeon. Deep breath. Play with depth as you move through that, knowing that if you reach the point where your breath gets caught, you've gone a little too far. That's your indication to ease off slightly. Exhale. Walk your hands back. And then switching legs. So now take this leg, place it down onto the mat. Ankles straight in line with the knee. Flex both feet, but cradle the other foot. Maybe move it back and forth a little. Find some movement, and then bring your foot over top of the knee. Stack your shins, look for that triangle in between, and just like before, both sides feel totally different. One usually feels better than the other. Provide as much support for that leg as you need as it eases down towards the shin. Hands come around, lift your chest. Exhale, walk your hands. If you're looking for more, you can stay right there or come around the front. And if your breath is still moving easy, as you exhale, explore depth. Exhale is always the opportunity to see if you can move a little deeper. Exhale. Back up. Taking your feet together, soles of the feet meet in the middle. Grabbing your ankles or your feet, lift your chest, lower your knees towards the ground, and hinge from your hips forward. And then allow your back to round, forehead melting towards your feet. And just sit back up. Bringing your knees up, moving into our final stretch. For our hips, as we come onto our knees, come onto all four and come sideways so that your knees are facing the long edge of your mat. Take your feet and walk them out with your knees so that your toes face the outside. Two options here. If you want to make this a little bit easier, you can bring your toes in towards the center. Otherwise, moving into frog with your toes outwards Walk your knees as wide as you comfortably can. Ankles straight behind your knees. Draw your abdominals into your spine and then come down. See how that is onto your elbows. You want to keep your hips back in line with your knees. They have a tendency to want to come forward. So move your hips back in line with your knees, feet to the outside, and play with depths, keeping that back supported with strong core. Our hips can all sit very different in our hip sockets. So how low you get to the ground depends on both your flexibility and also how your joint structure is. So just be forgiving to yourself. Embrace the feeling of lengthening without an expectation of how low you need to go. If you're looking for more, you're certainly welcome to extend your arms out, taking your ears to one side as you lower to the ground. Remembering to keep the hips moving back towards your knees. If that's not comfortable for you, you're welcome to stay up on your elbows. There's no need to go down to the floor if that doesn't feel good. Taking 2 more breaths in either of those options. And then easing out of this pose, however is most comfortable for you. If you want to just roll down onto your belly, you're welcome to, or you can inch your knees together. Coming to sit down on your mat and getting ready for our final shavasana. We'll finish with a twist before we move into that. So roll onto your back, knees come into your chest, give your knees a great big squeeze. Open your hands wide, take your knees and drop them to one side. Gaze moves to the opposite direction. Back to the center, letting your breath come back to its natural pace and natural depth. Open up, drop your knees, gaze moves the opposite direction, enjoying that deep spinal twist. And then rolling onto your back, one last squeeze. As we move into shavasana, legs come wide, toes to the outside, drop your feet out. And as you settle in, I invite you to stay here as long as you would like. You're welcome to press pause and take a nice long shavasana. This is where I will leave you today. Thank you for joining us. Close your eyes down. Get nice and heavy. And give yourself at least a few minutes of silence and stillness as you let your practice soak into your body.